Clix finally won an FNCS. Well, kind of. For nearly a decade, Clix has been one of the biggest names in Fortnite. But there's always been one thing missing: an FNCS title. And depending on who you ask, that still hasn't changed. Because this wasn't a normal FNCS. This was at the 2026 Pro-Am, where there was a mix between some of the best pros in North America and some players who haven't even really touched the game in years. Either way, nobody expected this duo to be the ones lifting the trophy, especially with the competition they had to face. And somehow, over the next 7 games, they proved everyone wrong.
Nice!
Going in, most people already knew who was going to win. Peterbot and Faxity were the obvious pick. Peterbot has been the best player in the world for the last few years, and he's won the FNCS Pro-Am with Aussie Antics last year. So this year, expectations were high for Peterbot, especially since he teamed up with his friend Faxity, who is mechanically better than Aussie Antics. Then you've got Veno and Stable Ronaldo, 2 FNCS champions on the same team. On paper, this was one of the scariest duos in the lobby as long as the vibes held together. But we'll see how that plays out towards the end. Cooper and Zemi were another dangerous team after coming in second last year, and they were hungry for redemption. And then you have Clix and Lacey, who finished 10th place last year, and nobody had them winning, except Clix's girlfriend, Thea.
It's coming this year, actually. 2026, it's coming.
7 games later, they're both holding an FNCS trophy, and this is how it happened. Game 1 was not ideal. Clix and Lacey made it to the end game, and they're in prime positioning on height for a top 5 finish and potentially a win. But they're challenged on the high ground by Muzz and Somerset. Lacey gets chopped and dies to fall damage, and Clix gets taken out by Somerset. Muzz and Somerset go on to win game number 1 with 6 eliminations. Clix and Lacey end up coming in 6th place with 6 eliminations as well. Not exactly proving that they're about to win the championship, but still in contention. But this first game does show us something important. You can already tell which teams are playing for eliminations and which ones are going for placement. Peterbot, Cooper, and Victor V were all hunting eliminations all game and farming players like Ash Alk to run up the score. Victor V and Peterbot tied for eliminations this game, and even though Victor died in 9th place, they were actually tied with Clix and Lacey because of the amount of kills that they had racked up. And after winning game number 1, Muzz and Somerset admitted in their post-game interview that they were playing more passively to stay alive in the end game instead of focusing on kills.
End game, bro. Everyone's like trying to fight because, you know, there's some creators here that aren't like, they don't play Fortnite. Everyone's trying to drop kills, but we're just playing a calm, smooth end game. Took high and just got a clean win.
And then you had teams like Jinxie and Pollo that didn't even have a chance to choose how they wanted to play because they were eliminated in the game within the first 30 seconds. Now, game 2 looked better until it didn't. Clix and Lacey managed to stay alive going into the moving zones, but they had to burn through their mats after back-to-back max zone pulls in the endgame. And of course, as soon as they run out of mats, the final zone pulls away even further from them. Veto catches Clix mid-rotate, and Lacey goes down to Ron right after. Peter and Faxity go head-to-head with Ron and Veno in the final 2v2. And then the Faxity classic happens. He falls from height and splats down to 1 HP and then dies to fall damage again.
Like, I have no builds, bro. Oh my god, bro.
Veno and Ron end up taking the win and securing first place on the leaderboard. And I said from the start, the only thing that would bring this team down is if the vibes get ruined. But after this win, the vibes were peak.
My body.
After finishing 4th in game number 2, Clix and Lacey are sitting in 5th overall with 97 points. But Veno and Ron are at the top of the leaderboard with 154 points, with Victor V and Crackley right behind them, even though they died in 10th place. Meaning if Clix was going to win, he had 2 options: keep up the placement consistency or get more eliminations. Game 3 begins with a hot drop at top tier training, which is where Peterbot and Faxity have been dropping all tournaments. It was a really common strategy for pros to instantly drop at the beginning of the bus path to go for kills while their teammate played to survive at their normal drop. Peterbot and Faxity unfortunately go down in last place with 0 kills in game number 3. But for Clix and Lacey, this was easily their cleanest game yet. They played it smart and stuck together on the low ground, letting the lobby thin itself out until it was a final 2v2v1. It came down to 3 teams: Clix and Lacey, Veno and Ron, and Sphinx as a solo. This should have been Clix's chance to finally take height, but instead Sphinx pushes Clix, and Veno and Ron instantly jumped on their heads. They clean up all 3 remaining players in seconds. Lacey died less than a second before Sphinx, so they ended up coming in 3rd place. And Sphinx gives us this incredible interview after the clutch.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna take this disrespect anymore. Ritual's out here talking smack on my duo. Who did you kill last game?
I killed Ritual.
So, Ritual, don't talk smack about my duo again.
At this point, Clix and Lacey only had 12 kills in their 3 games, while Ron and Veno had 27. Going into game number 3, it was clear that Veno and Ron are the team to beat. Clix and Lacey could not afford to have a bad game. The good news is that Clix and Lacey aren't on Peter's radar. After game 3, we had a small break for the players to grab some snacks, and we learned that this might be Jinxie's last Fortnite tournament ever.
Games into your first Fortnite competitive LAN.
And last.
He then made his way over to Clix to ask him a question that a lot of people had. If you win this, does this count as an FNCS win?
Okay, realistically, I would say it is, but does it feel like it? No.
And even if it's technically an FNCS win, Clix is still going to be hungry to earn the title in a lobby stacked with 100 pros. Now time for game 4, and almost all the teams are starting to feel a bit more confident going into this game. You have Jinxie getting his first kill, not even on a creator, but on Queasy, who is an FNCS Globals champion. But then you have a few teams who are still trying to figure things out. The most anticipated creator to do well, Faxity, currently has 0 kills. Ash Alk is getting the Ali A treatment from Peterbot, but Clix and Lacey are almost playing perfect Fortnite at this point. Lacey is playing his support role perfectly, which makes sense considering the practice he's been getting with Arc.
100. Nice.
He's staying glued to Clix all game, feeding him mats, grabbing refreshes, and staying alive. He ends up getting a kill on Muda in the final zone before going down to Victor V. Clix and Lacey finish in 3rd once again, but this time they get 8 eliminations. But Victor V and Crackly end up taking the win with 11 kills, which doesn't look good considering they were already keeping up despite having lower placement points. Game 5 is the one that changes everything. Clix and Lacey somehow keep up their insane consistency, and they find themselves in the top 3 against Victor V, Crackly, Poyo, and Jinxie. Clix and Lacey are on height, Poyo takes out Victor V and Crackly, Jinxie is frozen, and Poyo is frantically telling him to look up.
Shoot this guy down. Dead?
But this is one of his first ever Fortnite endgames in a lobby full of pros, so naturally he looks completely lost and Jinxie gets taken out by Clix. Jinxie probably started having flashbacks of the advice Booga gave him when they met: just give Poyo all your stuff and die. Poyo is in a 1v2, and we've seen Poyo clutch in even higher stake tournaments. Poyo tries to take height and takes down Lacey. Clix has the health advantage and Poyo needs a 1 pump. He goes for the side jump and misses his shot, and Clix clutches the victory royale in game number 5. Their first win of the tournament. Clix and Lacey are officially championship contenders. They're feeling confident, but there's a big factor to them actually winning, and that's Peterbot.
Well, you said Pete's going to be a factor. I don't see him up there with you lot.
The thing is about Peter, he's going to come from the shadows. There's 2 games left, and I'm not first, so nothing I should worry about.
Even though Peterbot hasn't been near the top of the leaderboard this tournament, Clix has been griefed too many times to rule him out.
I'll be the one to stop it if he's close.
Going into game 6, Clix and Lacey are tied in 2nd place with Ron and Veno, only 20 points behind Victor V and Crackly in 1st place. Lacey is proving to be the perfect duo for Clix in this format, and Clix is showing everyone just how good of an IGL he can actually be, but they know the job isn't done yet.
We won. What's there to be happy about? You think I'm happy? There's nothing to be happy about. Job's not finished.
Game 6 is the game where it could have all fallen apart. Faxity and Peter recognize that they are not winning the tournament. Their chemistry just didn't click. Faxity was way too nervous and he was weighing Peter down. He wasn't giving clear comms, talking while Peter was fighting, and couldn't keep up or follow Peter during endgames.
Get the vibes up. I mean, I'm trying, but it's the same every time when you play West. I get in my own head, bro. It's the same thing when I get yelled at. Come and stay alive, heal.
Alright, bro, I can't. Like, where the f are you, bro?
So Peter ends up doing what he does and starts focusing his attention on who's at the top of the leaderboard. Veno and Ron, Victor V and Crackley, Clix and Lacey. Victor V and Crackley have their worst game of the tournament, only getting 3 kills and finishing in 7th. Veno and Ron have a similar game 6, finishing in 8th with 6 kills. Lacey has no heals, no mats, and almost no chance of surviving rotations in the endgame. He almost takes out Zemi for the refresh, but he goes down after hitting him for 175. Clix is left solo with no mats and 2 duos still up. He knocks Zemi but ends up going down to Reet before he can get the siphon. He stayed alive just long enough to go from 5th to 3rd. Reet and Frantic have the high ground for the last 2v1, but they had no materials to hold it. Cooper shocks Reet into Storm, holds on to height, and clutches a 12-kill win. At this point, Clix and Lacey are averaging top 4 finishes every game, and they finished with 10 kills to put them in 1st place. But Clix is not happy.
I think we're first.
It doesn't matter. It matters how it's gonna end.
Then he turns to Peterbot.
I know you like me, bro, but this is one of the times where I'm gonna need you to like me, bro. I'm not gonna lie, Pete.
And Peterbot responds back with,
Chat, you're saying that, but I just know what I know what's going through y'all's head, bro.
Game number 7, the final match of the tournament. Our 3 teams that have a chance to take the championship: Ron and Veno, Victor V and Crackley, Clix and Lacey. Most teams are starting to W key hard for elimination points to catch up. With each elimination point being 3 points, a solid 10-kill win can change up the leaderboard drastically. Peterbot lands directly on Veno at the start, while Faxity lands at their normal drop to grab loot for Peter if he goes down. At this point, Faxity is so checked out of the tournament that he doesn't even remember where he's trying to land. And on top of that, he loses a 1v1 to A2 Guapo with 200 HP and a gold gatekeeper. Peterbot plays the game the way he promised. He starts hunting down Victor V and Crackley in the storm, and he manages to take out Vic. But Crackley stays alive long enough to get him back in the game. It's one thing to keep Peterbot from killing you while he's hunting you down, but Crackley actually got a kill on Peter with only 10 HP in the storm. That didn't stop Peter from killing Victor 5 times this game. But even with a target on their back, Victor V and Crackley somehow finished the final match in 4th place with 10 eliminations. But the distraction from Peterbot might have cost them the entire tournament. Lacey also had a rough moment in game number 7. When going for refreshes, he completely missed 500 brick and 6 shockwaves, making his last game way harder than it needed to be. In the final 2v2, Lacey gets 1-pumped by Cooper, and Clix returns the favor by 1-pumping Zemi. But with the final zone closing, the siphon isn't enough to keep Clix alive in the storm. Cooper and Zemi pull off another massive win, but it's not enough to get them to the top 3. Everyone starts refreshing the leaderboard once the game ends to see which of the 3 teams ended up with enough to win. Clix and Lacey did it. They played so consistently throughout the entire tournament that through placements and fewer eliminations, they secured an FNCS Pro-Am victory. And it was very close. The tournament format was perfect for their playstyle. If they chose to use last year's Pro-Am format, they actually would have lost by 2 points. But they ended up securing the win by 14. And whether you want this to count as an FNCS win or not, this is Clix's first LAN win and a great comeback after a rough last season. And while celebrating with fans, he accidentally broke his trophy.
We'll get you a new one.
So I guess he'll have to just win it all over again. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.